Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's LJ, and at long last, it's time for the
Kiss Vinyl Collection Update!
And so here we are without further ado. You wanted the best, you got the best. The hottest band in the land, Kiss! And so, this is my Kiss vinyl collection. Humble Kiss vinyl collection. Omitted from this video are 45s, 8-tracks, cassettes, and memorabilia. This video would be 45 minutes. Also omitted from this video is color commentary or personal thoughts on any of these, because this video would run 90 minutes. Because if there's one band I can talk about all day until the groupies come home, it's Kiss. So, here we go. I'll do my best to explain, to the best of my knowledge, where some of these pressings are from, when they came out, what version they are, but there's just a myriad of Kiss pressings out there. It's over the top. To start with, one thing I always grab when I see them are absolutely lunched copies of Kiss albums. Why would you grab lunched copies of Kiss album? Well, because for places like the barn, where you really don't care what they look like, it's great to throw them in there. Who cares if your hands are greasy from working on something? Throw one on. Wall art. Who couldn't look at Ace Frehley all day? Come on! Or, oftentimes, there may be a copy that I find for 50 cents at a yard sale that has an insert that mine's missing. So it's perfect. And all the same, Kiss albums, most of them came out in the 70s, right? Of course, there's the 80s and 90s stuff, but, you know, when you were a kid in the 70s and early 80s, your albums were loved. You weren't a collector yet. So, you carried them to a friend's house. Around here, it's mostly dirt roads, so they'd get dropped. Pick it up. So, a Kiss album just seems more loved. It takes you back to a time where you listened to and loved your records. And for all those reasons, I always grab even lunched copies when I see them, because they're cheap, and who cares? But here is the real Kiss collection. Let's start ripping, because we're already going long. The very first place, that's where it started. So let's start at the very beginning, because it's a very good place to start. I have two original US pressings of this album. Well, not original in the sense that both of these have Kissin' Time on them, and they're both on the Casablanca Record and Filmworks label. The difference between both of these is that one has the live version of Nothing to Lose, and the other one does not. It has a studio version of Nothing to Lose. I was never 100% sure why they changed. You can let me know. And here is a West German copy of the same album. As far as favorites go, tied for my favorite Kiss album ever. Well, there's three. Yeah, I'd say there's three. And that's definitely one of them. Next up, of course, we have Hotter Than Hell. Also omitted from this video are some duplicates. So you're going to see 90% of what I own. This is on the Casablanca Record and Filmworks label. This one's got kind of a muted label to it. Here is another... Oh, sorry. This is a West German press of that same album, which is very cool. And what else do we have? Here's another West German press. So these two are slightly different from each other. This is a boot that was put out, I don't know, maybe 3 years ago. And this is Electric Magic, live East Lansing, Michigan, October 21st, 1974. If I remember right, this one just has plain white labels on it, but it's a killer set. And I believe this was done after the debut, but before Hotter Than Hell came out. So it's got some tracks from Hotter Than Hell. That is an awesome listen. And now we get into Dress to Kill. This is US pressing, and this is on the Casablanca Record and Filmworks label. This one does not have the embossed lettering on it. And neither does the other copy that I have. This is a West German pressing as well. So same thing, no raised letters. Of the first three are early Kiss albums, that's definitely my least favorite of them. So that brings us to Alive. Let's see. This is an older, rougher copy that I've probably had since I was a kid. But it is on the blue Casablanca label. So I believe that makes this first pressing. And we have another copy. This one is in much, much better condition. That one's not bad, but the jacket's just got some wear. The vinyl's great. And this is on the Casablanca Record and Filmworks. And it should go without saying that I would say almost all of these, save for maybe a couple, have all the right inserts that belong in them. It's just not worth pulling them all out. Again, the video will run forever! Forever! Moving on, this is what I believe is the first UK press. It has the blue Casablanca labels, and this was a gift from vinyl community member Panique's 1960, back in probably 2011 or 12. And here is a West German pressing of Alive. So you have the different S's, much darker cover. Sounds great. I love this copy as well. That is one of the three that's tied for my favorite Kiss album. Let's keep ripping. This is the only pressing I have of Kiss the Originals. This just collects the first 3 Kiss albums into one set. This is a Canadian copy that was given to me by Otavio, whose guess I'm just a spud boy in the vinyl community. That brings us to Destroyer. So I have a few different copies of Destroyer. So this is a Casablanca blue label, so I believe that makes it a first US pressing. Here's another copy of Destroyer, and this would be a later pressing. This is just a Casablanca label, so no record and film works yet. Here is another pressing of Destroyer, and I believe this is going to be the record and film works. Yep. So later pressing. And let's see, I think this is the very first copy I ever had as a kid. This is record and film works, so the vinyl is in fantastic shape for as long as I've had it, but the jacket has suffered. And it's just one of those that you just hang on to. And this is still in the shrink. This is an RCA Music Club edition from the late 70s. I think it has the Record and Film Works logo on the label and still in the shrink. So dead beautiful copy. And this is the last copy I have. This is the West German edition on the Casablanca Record and Film Works label. Wanna rock and roll all night. Rock and roll over, and we got a long ways to go, so let's see how quick we can do this. Casablanca Record and Film Works logo. Another copy of Rock and Roll Over. I grabbed this one because for some reason it's got very muted colors on the cover compared to the other one that I just showed you. I'm not sure if you can pick that up in the video. Still Casablanca Record and Film Works, but it looks almost like the printer was running out of ink, or almost like a bootleg. This is an RCA Music Club copy. This is still in the shrink, just like the copy of Destroyer I showed you. And this is a West German pressing of the same album, Rock and Roll Over. And this was just recently given to me by SMF Captain Howdy in the vinyl community. And this is absolutely amazing. And this is a Japanese pressing of Rock and Roll Over. And the gatefold on this is just astounding. Absolutely astounding. That's just beautiful. Look at those images. Look at those images. That's the kind of stuff Kiss dreams are made of. Now we get into Love Gun, and this is just an old pressing that I've had forever. Casablanca Record and Film Works. Logo's getting a little fancier at that point. This is another copy of Love Gun. This is an RCA Music Club copy. This is a dead sealed, 100% original copy of Love Gun. Never opened, still sealed. I was amped when I found that. And here is a West German copy of the same album. Here's an original pressing of Alive 2. Here is the 2014 reissue of Alive 2. A note on the reissues. I've not picked them all up yet. Now it's a matter of finding them at the right place, for the right price, at the right time, and that'll make me grab them. For Alive 2, I just wanted a brand new copy. And here is a West German pressing of Alive 2. Moving on, brings us to Double Platinum. See if I can work no glare. This is a US pressing of Double Platinum. Great album, and it does have the award in there. And here is a West German copy of the same album. We are hauling. Here is my second favorite Kiss solo album. This is a US pressing, Paul Stanley. And this is a West German pressing of Paul Stanley. What else we have? Oh, the man himself. The man himself. You know, some people say I look like him. I believe it. And here is a West German copy of The Spaceman. What's going on, Ace? He's so badass. And that's the best solo album, by the way. Number 3, and this is Gene Simmons, US pressing. And by this point, you know what's coming next. There's the West German copy of Gene. And my least favorite of the solo albums. There is Peter Criss, US pressing. And Peter Criss, West German pressing. This is a compilation, the best of the solo albums. And this is a French pressing. And here is pretty much the same album. So it's the best of one great album, one good album, and 2 not good albums. And this is a West German pressing. Dynasty. the disco album. I Was Made for Loving You, Casablanca Record and Film Works. And here is another copy of Dynasty. And those of you that know your Kiss vinyl know there was 2 labels on that one, and this one has the custom Kiss label. And that brings us to the West German pressing of Dynasty. So that brought us to heading into one of the lowest points in Kiss's career. Here's Unmasked. Not a bad album, some good songs on it. And here is a West German pressing of that same album. Kiss's absolute lowest point, in my opinion, should have listened to your guitar player and you should have delivered the heavy album that you promised you would when you released Unmasked, but instead you made music from the Elder. I'm sorry, there's not a single redeeming quality of this album. I can't stand it. I know it's got its fan base, but I'm not one of them. And here is a West German pressing of that same album. Here is Kiss Killers. This is a UK pressing of Kiss Killers. Cool album. My last, and I'm sure you saw this coming, favorite Kiss album, hands down, no question, Creatures of the Night. This is the album that was supposed to have come out when Unmasked came out. Kiss promised a heavy record, and they delivered Unmasked, which is a pop record. And then they delivered Elder, and then they lost Ace, and then they lost Peter, but then we got Creatures of the Night with Ace on the cover, but not on the album. So here we go. And this is an absolutely amazing album. One heck of a story behind the creation of this, with session musicians from people that would go on to be in bands like Mr. Mister and Ace Gone, and just an amazing, amazing history with that album. Here's a US pressing of Lick It Up. You know, the day they took off their makeup on MTV was huge. Here's a 12-inch single for Lick It Up from the forthcoming album of the same name. And here is a West German copy of Lick It Up. Here's a US pressing of Animalize. I love this album. And here's a West German copy of Animalize. Here's another fantastic album, Kiss Asylum. And here's a West German pressing of the same album. This is an album I could take or leave. I've never been a big fan of it, and this is Crazy Nights. Here's a US pressing. It's on the Mercury label. And here's a West German copy of that same album on Mercury. Here's Smashes, Thrashes, and Hits. This is a Dutch pressing. Hot in the Shade. Here's a US pressing. I actually really like this album. I think there are some fantastic tracks on Hot in the Shade. Here's a German or West German pressing of the same album. It's on the Vertigo Spaceship label. Here is the reissue of Revenge. So I never had a copy of this, a US copy of this. So I picked up the reissue right when it came out. And that's a good reason to buy reissues, because you don't already have it. And here is an original West German or German pressing. That brings us to the other reissue that I picked up. And this is Alive 3. I never owned this until the reissues just came out. Here's one I've had for ages and ages. And this is Kiss My Ass. This is on red vinyl. And it's really not a very good album. Here's an original US Kiss Unplugged. So I had this in the collection for a long time. A good couple years anyways, before the reissue came out. It's another reissue I picked up. And the first time officially on vinyl ever, trying to get the cover to work. There it goes. This is Psycho Circus. And I said, welcome to the show! Here's a recent trade within the vinyl community. And this is Kiss Alive 4 Symphony. This was another outstanding, outstanding gift from vinyl community member SMF Captain Howdy. And that's John. John added a long-standing grail to my collection, and that is an authentic original copy of Sonic Boom. And this is on purple vinyl. For what it's worth, I still haven't opened it. It's sealed right now. I'm still just having a lot of fun just looking at it. Anyways, here we go. Kiss, Destroyer Resurrected. US pressing, and this is a German copy of the same thing, Destroyer Resurrected. We're closing in, and we've looked at over 80 albums at this point. Here is a US early copy of Kiss Monster, and here is a US pressing of the same album. And this is the last one that we're going to take a look at. This is Kiss Alive the Millennium Concert. I mean Alive 4. No, Alive the Millennium Concert. No, Alive 4. Whatever. This is a UK pressing, just like Alive 3 was. I should have mentioned that at the time. And this was recorded in 99, 2000. Just an amazing, amazing, amazing live set. And so that's it. As of February 2015, that is my Kiss vinyl collection. Kiss collectors are rabid. And with so many different pressings out there, feel free to leave a comment if you have one. Kiss fans unite and they work together to help each other learn more. And that's why I love watching these kinds of videos. And that's why I decided to finally shoot an update on mine as well. Kiss fans unite. That's how the Kiss Army rolls. Later.